Peace, everybody. Peace, peace, peace. Shalom. I can think of younger days Welcome to Movie Innerstandings. Best with that all day. Innerstandings. Shalom, much hope in the era. Already, Pete. Peace, brother Zach. And this is Movie Innerstandings, and I'm Brother Low. And today we are talking about Book of Eli, right? This was a request by brother Zach, So, one sec. So anyway, peace, Sister Kashia. So we doing Book of Eli, right? I like this movie. It got Denzel Washington in it, and Denzel is a phenomenal actor, right? But I think he shows the quality of being an actor. With movies, you don't expect him to be good in. Training Day is one. He plays characters that you don't think he could play. Because some actors can't. Some actors just be themselves. But he shows his versatility in that way, where he can play really good characters and sell them. You know what I'm talking about? And I think this one was a very interesting one because you didn't expect him to have like a semi-action movie like this, in a sense, not since what was that movie with Russell Crowe that had to deal with computers and AI and things of that nature. That was like the last one I remember. But here we have the Book of Eli, right? And it's very interesting. You have the start of the movie. You have like the ash falling from the sky. Which is very telling of the world that he's in. And how Eli's hunting a cat. A cat with no hair. Yeah, it can represent the subconscious mind. In the state of the world, Remember, this is a post-apocalyptic world as well, and yeah, which I was waiting on. It's a post-apocalyptic world, so I mean, yes, it explains the subconsciousness of the mind, but also the survivability of the person or or the character itself. My name is Precious. You thought the cat represent Catholicism, killing the old ways. Can't I can't say that. I just see him as a kill the cat. He hungry. Unless you want to break down, the many symbolisms of what the cat represents. But then I would have to ask you, Rosette, why do you see the cat as symbolizing Catholicism? And then we'll have to go further into that, But after that, one thing I paid attention to more about with this movie was the surroundings, like the ash falling from the sky, or as he hunts, Eli hunts, he has on the gas mask, for those of us that have wear a gas mask before, he has to properly seal it, And it's properly sealed, and he looks like he has a makeshift like gas uniform, but it's homemade, in that sense. Yeah, let's go for the ride. And so, after that, you see him go through an abandoned city. You know, um, one thing you can tell uh, from the outlook, at least I could. Um, this is the Heartland region. You know, so we already know in that sense. I was just looking at where it is and things of that nature. He's moving to the heartland. At least that's what I got from that reading. But you see him, basically prepping, his survival gear. Once he, gets to this this house. And one thing that was interesting is that he see a person that hangs himself. What was interesting about the hanged man was a bone, which was interesting. It's like, huh, that stuck out for me. But he got his boots, and then you see Denzel do like the new shoe dance. He's like new shoes, new shoes. You know what I'm talking about. But also just think about that for a second. This guy is happy. You know, yeah, he was walking back, almost listening to the sound reflect off the walls to find him too. Yeah. Um, he's happy about getting pre-worn shoes. So think about the world that he's in. He's happy to get pre-worn shoes and off a dead man. He think he just hit the lottery. But you also see that he has saran wrap around his legs, which, like I say, he's like a homemade gas suit. So my mind is that he's wearing basically the saran wrap as a ceiling for around his legs, to basically be a makeshift gas suit, because you have to make sure that if you wear your suit properly, it has to be really covered and tight in some aspects where there is no oxygen that can't get in. So here I am thinking, oh, that's why he wrapped his legs in saran wrap, to not only protect his skin but to also be like a ceiling. And then you see him, prepping, oiling up his gun, uh, sharpening his machete, you know. Um, oh, peace, Des. Yeah, well, um, that's what came to my mind, that as I'm seeing this person, and in my experience, even though I that's what I thought. He has a seal mask on. He's sealed tightly in what he was wearing, even though it wasn't a proper gas mask like you would in the military. But you can homemade, you can homemade something like that, and that's what I thought. Um, so that's where I got that from. Just by looking at what he was wearing and what he was doing. And so, as he's prepping, you got, Al Green playing in the background, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, and you see that he's war, he's war, battle worn, you know, as he's doing all of this. You could say that you could see that he is a warrior, but he's a battle worn warrior. He's an older gentleman, and he's battle worn. Peace, Sister Quia. But you see he's battle worn. You can see that the time of being battle worn has taken its toll on the guy. That's why I like that scene. You can also see that from his body, he's been burned. Um, now, what has burned him, or the degree of the burn, I can't judge. I'm not in the medical field, but you can see that he's been burned, before. Also, as he's walking through the viaduct, in another scene, he gets ambushed. But like I say, pay attention to what he's doing, right? As one thing is, he meets the woman on the um on the road, and she got a torn card, and she's saying, help me," and she's trying to lure him in with her cleavage, right? um Jesus, with Jesus, which what made me think of. Okay. But that's it. He also started feeding the rat, which I started to connect to Jesus, which is what made me think of Catholicism. Well, um, brother Zach, I can understand. I can understand that because as the movie goes on, yeah, I thought the same thing in a sense. Just not with that scene. But I do like when he's like, "You like it? It's cash," just so um, the humorous the humor of a battle worn guy, but um, but anyway, you see him on the road. You see that this woman is trying to lure him with her cleavage and whatnot, but he doesn't go straight to it. He still has distance. He still carries a defensive posture, and then he says, one thing about having no soap, you can smell things, you can smell an ambush from a mile away. What I'm saying? So he with his survivability and him using his senses, he knew that this was a trap. And then you see the ambush coming along. But as you can see, one thing I was paying attention to, he had his hands behind his back, like you would sort of see, in kung fu movies, you always see the master martial artist have his hands behind his back and things of that nature. But I always, as he's doing it, I knew that he had his hand behind his back to reach for his machete because the way he had his machete, it's pointed, the scabbard or things of that, or the handle is pointed downward on the back, so where if he has to go back, he can just pull it out from that standpoint. Just the spirit by the spirit, I can smell them from a mile away. Yeah. So he knows he knows a foul stench when he smells it. And so as you can see in that scene, he lay low, the guys that's trying to ambush him, cuts off one's arm and kills everybody else, and he slowly, does the ringleader in, and then he approaches the woman on the road, and he doesn't ask for the food, he just wants the water, and then he sees that the water is dirty and putrid, and he doesn't want it anymore. And she's like, take me with you. And he's like, no. You know what I'm talking about? There were several parts in this movie where I just would have been getting dead. Well, you never know. You never know how nature works. Also on the bridge, the number 14:6 was on it. I thought it meant John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the light. Yeah, that. Hey, I like where your mind is going through that. For those of us heathens that don't know our Bibles that well, but I do know that verse. but it took me to like the comic book character Deadshot, because he always had that quote, I am the way, I'm the way of life. So that's how I remember it. But that's good because that shows that he's still on the path, right? But then you see, that the ambushers are cannibals. That's one thing. So you're in a world. When I found that out, I was like, this is a zombie apocalypse, basically. This post-apocalypse. He's in a post-apocalyptic world, but he still has to deal with the so-called zombies and the zombie apocalypse. These people that eat, human flesh and have rotting, decayed skin and things of that nature. And you see that in characters. So you see that there are zombies in this world that were once human. And now they're something different. And he sees, he doesn't he gets on another path, and then he sees, a couple with another car, and they get ambushed by, a motorcycle crew, and get ready. And he tells himself, as he's watching and hiding, to stay on the path. Stay on the path. It's not your concern. Stay on the path. Because inside he wants to help, but he has to remember, stay on the path. Stay on the path. It's not your concern. Could we say that it's like that now? Yeah. You know, you can say that, brother Zach. You can say that there are some grafted soulless beings that will eat the flesh or the spiritual soul of, natural humans. You can definitely say that. That's not too far fetched. Sometimes you only have to listen to the music, and hey, listen to what listen to certain things, and see and observe, the world that you're living in, and you will see that, definitely like that today. But the zombies don't hide. No, the zombies don't hide. The zombies don't come, not afraid of sunlight, just like the ones in this movie. You see that the cannibals were out in when the sun was out. Usually in a zombie movie, they gotta wait till the dark. But they were out when the sun was out. How many times do we start to give our attention to things that don't aid us on the journey? Yeah, distractions. As you can see, he was already, because of the motorcycle interaction. There was more. They were getting ambushed, and he couldn't have done nothing, even if he's well armed and well trained. As there's a quote in the TV series Rome. When Mark Anthony says, 10 mangy dogs can kill a lion. And that's very true in this scene. If he would have went down to help those people, he would have got done with. That's what that line made me think of. Stay on the path. Yeah. And after that, you see him coming to town to trade, and one thing, when he goes into trade with the, like, I would say, the pawn shop broker, or they call him the engineer, but the pawn, he has so much things. I was like, man, it's a pawn shop, for but he's like, let me check your hands, and see if your hands shake. And he sees that, his hands are safe, not shaking, but he has a gun at Eli. But Eli takes the gun. He disarms him and then gives it back. He's like, I'm just a customer. You see, yeah, you see in that scene how calm he is. He lets him know, I can take your gun away from you and shoot you with it, but I'm not here for that. I'm not here to rob you. I'm just a customer. Calm down. He says, I'm gonna go in my pack and get something out. Okay. He tries, take your gun off, take your finger off the trigger, but you see him, basically, dealing with the threat, dealing with the threat in this thing. Yes, but he didn't help that family. But he turned back to help the other girl. So it seems that he went along his understanding of the path change. He who focuses on the irritation of the Israel surely scratched themselves to the bone. Yeah. Snatched that man's gun. Yes, he did that. Yes, he did. He snatched out his hands real quick, But you see how he's able to conflict resolute in that scene. I think that's why I like it. He's able to conflict resolute in this scene, and like I say, take down the threat without fighting. Which the art of war says, the best way to win a war is, is to not fight. In a sense, or to, basically, I, I can't explain it right now. But also made me think of the segment she did about having a shotgun. Um, if you don't know how to use one, yeah. Which there is shotgun training, as well. But also, training to disarm a person that has a weapon and things of that nature. Sort of good of learning martial sciences, and sciences that teach you to deal with a weapon, which be to one who knows how to use them, I think. Yeah. And so he does that, and he trains with them. Simple things, KFC wipes. Now for us here, it's alcoholic wipes, from KFC is a dime a dozen, but in this world, it's currency. Chief talks about this in survival, in his survival videos, bug out, bug in, how, these things like aspirin and things of that nature can be used as currency. That's why you stock up on these things, So let that be a lesson to you. You never know if you get some. They don't do it now. They used to do it. But if you ever get some KFC whites, you can use them for not only for yourself, but you can use them for currency if you ever get into a apocalyptic world. Okay. But after that, you see him coming to town. You see Carnegie, the main protagonist. He's reading Mussolini. For those that don't know who Benito Mussolini is, he is the Italian fascist dictator during World War II. For Italy. Him and his black shirts. It's interesting that he was reading Mussolini because I remember doing a elementary book report. Like these kids had, these small books, doing book reports on Goosebumps and things of that nature, and Babysitters Club. And here I am come with a big book, a big book, like 400 pages long about Mussolini. I've done a book report. I was weird, but he's reading about Mussolini, things of that nature, and he's talking to Redrich, and basically after they talk, because he's looking for a book. Now, mind you, I saw Carnegie as literally not only as the antagonist, but also I sort of saw him as a Luciferian Satan type character, and things of that nature. Just by the way he talked, and after that you see Eli. He comes into the bar where they're all at, right? And he just wants to get some water. He's always about the water. And he's trading for water. He he takes out a shema, and some gloves, to trade with, you know. Um, and he shooes away a cat, right? And then here comes this younger guy, you know, bothering Eli, like, that's my cat. This young guy, like, that's my cat. But I didn't, shoot. I just shoot him off. He's talking calmly, but he's like, no, that cat got more reason to be here than you. He's just messing with Eli, right? But Eli's being calm about it and being calm. Then all of a sudden, he just come and slams his head on the dang on bar table. Guy's bleeding and he holds him there, right? Didn't Carney have control over the books in the school system for a period? I don't know that, brother Zach. You mean the actual Carnegie? You probably mean Andrew Carnegie. He could have. I didn't really get into the history of of Carnegie and Rockefeller, but he could have. I think so. He could have. The research out there, on that famous family. If for those that don't know, Carnegie. I know one, Andrew Carnegie. Think the Carnegies was big in. Were they big in steel, or was that somebody else? But they were industrial. I guess you could say. You know what? Because I can't really tell you, I'm not going to speak on it. But the information, the knowledge is out there. But they're famous. You got Carnegie Hall and things of that nature. But it's a very famous rich family, and he's called Carnegie. But as that to actually being his actual name, okay, it was Steel. Then those are the Carnegies that probably run U.S. Steel. Just making sure. Thank you, Sister Kashia. I didn't want to talk about it if I did. Like, were they big in steel? Yeah, they were big in steel. The steel mills probably in Pennsylvania and things of that nature. So they were big in steel, U.S. Steel. Okay, because now as Ralph said in Godfather 2, Michael were bigger than U.S. Steel. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so he bothers them, and he tells his aggressor that he will be held accountable. For the things they do, because he saw murder people. And he tells them that he's going to be held accountable. But then he sees that a group that was with the guy is ready to fight him. So takes off his pack pretty much and gets his dang on machete, and he's and as he's getting ready for battle, he quotes basically Genesis 3:17, and basically that Bible verse is basically telling God's judgment on Adam and Eve. So he says, "Cursed be the ground," and things of that nature, and thus we came from, and dust we shall return to, and things of that nature. So that's Genesis 3, but sort of Genesis 3:17 on down, right? But it's not actual sort of quote, but because if you read that part, God is actually talking to Adam, but it's paraphrased in this scene, to fit the scene, which is good. But that's why I see Eli as a warrior priest, but also as a prophet and things of that nature. With the way his character is set up. And him wanting the books and the Bible to control. Right. I see where you're going with, Brother Zach, with that. And so, as he's done saying that, he fights him, and he wins, but as he's all of that done, He's stopped by Solara, and then Carnegie wants to meet him, and he's talked upstairs with Carnegie. Carnegie, he's like, "You a reader, man?" He's like, "I read every day, And he's like, "Well, though, them here, they don't understand that, but you and I, we come from pretty much the same era, so we know what it was like, And he tries to proposition him to stay. I got anything you want. You can get water. You can get women. Liquor. Whatever you want." And he says, "No, no thanks. I have someplace to go, you know. But then say, stay tonight. Change. Maybe you change your mind. See, that's why I feel like he's a say Satan like character, because he's still propositioning him, even though he's already said no, and he's still offering him things. That's why I can see where you get the Jesus in this movie, Brother Zad, because that's what he's doing. Um, the Solara represents wisdom, which it was made him stop. Yes, I would say yes, only for the simple fact that if he would have kept going, it could have been a worse fight and a gunfight after that, if he would have kept going. So I would say she did represent wisdom in that scene, because it could have got worse. If you see the scene and like I say, pay attention to the surroundings. He beat up a bunch of guys. It could have got worse to the point where he probably wouldn't have gotten out of that town. And so he said, stay the night. And, as he stays the night, and he, a woman knocks on his door. But when that knock happens, you see him has his gun, ready, aimed at the door, which, tells, and he doesn't have his back to the door either. He's always in a warrior's mindset and a warrior's posture. So you can see, he's basically on the side where anybody that comes in can get really flanked or ambushed by his, by the gun, So a woman comes in, Claudia, played by Jennifer Beals, and I like this scene just because these two actors have played in the movie before. For those that don't know, Jennifer Beals and Denzel Washington played in Devil with a Blue Dress. So that was cool, and you could see the subtle nod between two actors that have played acted before in this scene. But she comes in offering him, food and water, to wash herself up with and things of that nature. And, he asks her, were you blinded by the sun or the war? And she says, neither. I was born this way, So she says, by the time it happened, all this was already done to me, But then he says, I I like your perfume. She smiles, says, no, it's shampoo. First with her a little bit, but and he was trying to get Eli to hand over his birthright for some food and vagina. Yeah, yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was, brother Zach. But when she leaves, you see that he doesn't quite trust her, even though she brought him water. He smells the water, smells the food. He, tells us to see if it's poison and things of that nature. When he doesn't see that, but like I say, he's still in that mindset, right? But Claudia goes back to Carnegie and says he's not going to stay. She's really there to observe him in that one scene, and says it doesn't matter what you offer him, he's not going to stay. But then Carnegie's like, well, then I'll just offer him Solara, and Solara's her daughter. And she's like, no. And Solara comes in, in this, dress, and she's revealing, and Eli doesn't take the bait, and he, it's like, thank you, but I don't need you. You can go. And she's like, no, I can't go. If I go, he'll hurt my mom, or whatever. And she's like, let me just stay the night. You can say whatever you want. I'll just sleep on the floor, things of that nature. Something different about this one. He must be out. Yeah. Well, like I say, he's you in Eli. We just go with his name. Eli. Is means ascended or high, or my God. Things of that nature. So you already know he got. He's one of the chosen people at that. But I would also say that he's probably, in a sense, like I say, he's a warrior priest, probably of the priestly caste. I would even say he's probably, you could say, probably synonymous with a Cohen, or a Kohen. I thought about that in this sense, with the charge that he has, and or maybe he's a Levite, things of that nature. But that's what it got me to thinking, right? But yeah, he is a special one. Do you think there was any meaning in how the woman shaving Carnegie's neck was also blind? Like he preferred keeping blind company. I did pay attention to that woman too, and I noticed that she was blind. I would say, yeah, it could be his little thing. Some people got a thing for blind chicks. It could be, that could be it. It's a very small scene, but that could be it. He probably had also blind company because for books, because, well, we know, there's Braille, that's another form of reading. So he probably also had blind company because, or blind woman, so they could, if they were blinded before, like you said, the sun or the war, they could read Braille. So that could also be another reason. He kept them around, so just in case that people found Braille books, they could read them for him and they could tell him what they were. That could be another reason, or probably a more better reason. So also, we know that Solara's name is meaning of the sun. So she talks to Eli while she's there about the time before the Flash. And so as we know that the Flash is the sun, or a very bad, probably a solar flare. In this, that's why I thought of a very bad solar flare. Would you say that her sense are hiding and would have a greater ability to read people, which would provide him insight? I would say that her sense of, yeah, that too, because she can't see him, but she read him. She knew that he wasn't gonna stay. Mo better, Messi, Mo better. Yeah, right. And so she wants to know about the time before the Flash, and because she asks how old he is and things of that nature, and so she tells him, people had he tells her that people had more than they needed, and we had no we didn't know what was precious and what wasn't. We threw away things people kill each other for now. And think about that. You can say that now. People have, we have a lot more than we needed because a lot of us are generally slaves to consumerism. So we have a lot more than we need. and we throw away things people kill each other for. Just think of things that are in your pantry or in your refrigerator, or things that you own, and just think about people that don't have those things, and if somebody have them, they'll kill each other for it. You got people. I remember, people used to be, beating people up and killing people for Jordans. But just think of them not even killing you for Jordans, but they just killing you for your Pumas because they don't have nothing, or your dang on or them dang on Shaq shoes, that you see at Walmart, or even killing you for some Crocs. They killing you for some Crocs. Because they we live in a time where we don't have access anymore. So these things are valuable, and I would kill you for them. So, how much food do people waste? Folks be throwing away a whole bird like it's nothing. Yeah. Oh, so I'm not saying that the Shacks ain't selling, you know what I'm saying, or the Stoudemire's. I think, yeah, Stoudemire's got a shoe out too, and those are just selling. But I'm just saying, the contest is, something that people, didn't really care for, or probably wasn't fashionable, or wasn't worth a lot. Now people kill each other for. It's like somebody killing you for some jeans by Oshkosh Bigosh, something like that. I don't know, just think of that. They kill you for, like a True Religions or something like that. They kill you for some Levi's, or they kill you for some Levi's, or some Lee jeans, or some Dickies, things of that nature. Something that, like I say, is not a lot of, like the engineer asked them, in the previous scene, you got any toys? You know what I'm saying? Just think about somebody killing you for a tickle me elbow or something, or whatever, young kids want nowadays, killing, killing you for, a Blue's Clues plush toy. Who knows, he was the light, which is why he had the mark. Yeah, at least that is what I thought. Yeah. But anyway, he tells her to sit down, and he prays with her over the food. But she doesn't know what prayer is. Now we know, as Chief said, prayer means to beg. But here's a society that don't even know what prayer and religion is. But he prays over the food, and blesses the food and things of that nature. But even in his prayer, you can hear the battle sense or battle fatigue in his voice. Like he said, it's been too long. And he said, it's been too long. And he gives the food and things of that nature. But after that, Solara goes back to Carnegie to tell him, so what is he gonna stay? He's like, no. And he asked, did y'all talk any? She's like, we didn't talk at all, because we was too busy, doing what grown folks do, right? Give them a culture. Yeah, civilize these gremlins. Tickle me Elmo. Yeah, I said tickle me Elmo because I don't mess with toys. But just think, but think about it. That a toy that was the rage, that every Christmas or birthday came around that was just sold out. People would find out the shelves, Think about somebody trying to kill you that, in this post-apocalyptic world for tickle me elbow. you know, you know, for those, further along the path, somebody kill you for a GI Joe with the Kung Fu grip. Same thing. Or they try to, try to kill you for a Cabbage Patch. Think about it. But any type of toy, whether old or new age, in this world would have been valuable. Even a dang on porcelain doll, But Solara is praised with her mom over food, and Carnegie sees that. And she says, I guess that's, when she tries to end it, she doesn't know how to end it. So she said, I guess that's it for now. And he says, the word is amen. You said you didn't talk to him, but yeah, you know how to do this, And then he, basically threatens her mother, roughs up her mother, and trying to get information, and she tells him that he had a book, with a symbol on it. And so, Carnegie looks for him, as a class. In the past, I overstand. Exactly, some of the old things are worth a bunch of money, like comic books, like a Superman #1, I remember that was a thing when I was a kid or something like that, buying a Superman or Batman #1, whatever, But yeah, so, or what nowadays people collect Funko Pops, that's a rage, these little things, that you can't really do much with, but they keep them in, the containers itself, and they collect them, But anyway, he Carnegie looks for him, and Eli's just trying to get out of town. But one thing I pay attention to as you look the overview of the town, it's blown up pretty much. You can tell it's been hit by explosives and things of that nature, and these people are so uneducated and unskilled, they don't even know how to do brick masonry or stone masonry to even, fix those things up. They just leave them there. Now, in history, that has happened before, especially like for me, the Dark Ages. You had Europeans, Italians, that didn't know what what these aqueducts do. Somebody had to tell them that. They didn't know how to build a flying buttress and things of that nature. That Romans, knew how to do. All that, information was lost. Until somebody actually had to teach them that again. And it's the same way with this post-apocalyptic world. Even though this town looks like a very Western boom town, like you would see, in Westerns, but with brick and mortar, they can't even, build that up again. It's that bad, They don't even deserve the word of God. Yeah. Yeah. They can't, they can't even build. So they don't, but, brothers, that's, well, but I was about to say, but did the Ephesians or, the Ecclesiastes, all these, foreign folk, did they deserve the word of Yah? That's, but that's probably a biblical question for another time, But he propositions, Eli, and saying, I really need, need that book that you have, and he's not gonna give him because he explains that all of them were burned after the war. So that there was this great war, and it was probably a nuclear war. So you probably had a nuclear holocaust on your hands. But this war was so bad that they blamed the religion for everything. Therefore, they burned all the religious books, not just the Bible, but probably all of them, in a sense. Civilize these criminals. Yes. But anyway, we know from what he says. But, after that, Eli says no, a shootout, gunfight ensues, many casualties. But one thing you can see is that as Red Ridge tries to shoot Eli, he can't hit him. Bullets wheeze off him and things of that nature. That already shows you Eli's covered. He has the covering of Most High Yah. That's what I got from it. You can't touch this guy. But a shootout ensues and things of that nature. And Carnegie gets hit in the leg with the shotgun. But you see, Eli just picking people off, picking snipers off and off the roof and things of that nature. But after that, he's able to leave. Solara meets him, and she has to go with him. And he says no, and he says the road is no place for you. And when I heard that, I thought of basically not only the road but the path or his path. He says that he has no place for her. Some people try to invite themselves onto your path, and the road has no place for them. They not meant to walk the path that you're meant to, but yet they want to come along. So that's just something to think about. And I thought about that when that scene came around, and as Carnegie is wounded, he asked the doctor that's treating him, basically, or the medic that's treating him, "Did you wash your hands?" And he says, "Yes, I washed my hands twice with your own soap." When you are promised something, you don't have to worry about how things will get handled. The Most High has it covered, which is why I thought he didn't get shot. Yeah, I agree. But he asked him if he washed his hands. Now, one thing it made me think of, you're in this world, and it's like during the Civil War, basically. For those that don't know, sorry, y'all got to go on a history lesson. There are a lot of fatalities during the Civil War happened because of poor medical conditions among the staff and the medical environment. If you got shot with a musket ball, under today's modern standards, you probably would have lived. But because of the modern the science of that day, and the fact that they didn't know that bacteria was on hands, and you have to really sanitize your hands and things of that nature and wash them a certain way, you were probably going to end up dying through infection, basically because people didn't wash their hands properly. Matter of fact, another history lesson is that's how a president who got shot, I can't remember the president's name, but he got shot, and because the doctor did not wash his hands when he extracted the bullet, that's how he ended up dying. So you're in a world where sanitation is very necessary. And poor hygiene can kill you. Poor hygiene can kill you for something very simple to solve or to heal. So that scene made me think of that time, at least. And Solara shows Eli where the town gets its water. He sees that there's a spring, and he finds out that Carnegie went there as a kid, and what I thought about, I thought, that's how I said it's heartland, because I think about those underground caves, that are in the heartland, probably in Yellowstone Park or Yosemite. I ain't never been. But I know of them, and that's how he knew where they were, because he went there probably with his family or something like that, or he probably went there to kid, you know. Yeah, you just can't pour. You can pour now. You can pour whiskey on a wound to clean it, but you might want to use that whiskey on your hands and on your instruments. If you're going to do it. So, because we see some movies where people use liquor to clean the wound, but you also want to use it probably to clean the instrument and clean your hands. So let that be a lesson. Just to be on the safe side. Anyway, just to be on the safe side, clean your hands with the whiskey or the Henny, clean your instruments with the Henny, and then clean the wound with the Henny, Step 1, step 2, step 3, And then so he leaves her there, he locks the door. And she calls him a liar. And he said, I didn't lie, but you said you'd take me. And I'm saying, I didn't say that. You said that, But he leaves her there. But she gets out somehow. And, she meets the ambushes on the road. She's the same woman. And you can see that this woman, is mutated. Once we get a closer look, and she says, I'm not here to attract you. I'm here to attract the men, and she tries to tell him, get away. And she, gets ambushed, and she's about to be, sexually assaulted in this scene. But Eli comes to her rescue, But she's able to go along with him. And also, they get to a nuclear factory, a nuclear factory that's in ruin, And she, asks if he reads the Bible, and he says every day. And she says, well, teach me something. Already you see, she wants to learn. Or she wants to, she's of the sun, so she wants the light, she, Solara is of the sun, so she wants the light, so interesting that you still have to tell people to wash your hands, to avoid bacteria, things that make you go home. Yeah, well, not every, look, there are some grafted people out there, and they don't know to wash your hands, wash them more than 20 seconds, one thing. Somebody knows about me, or at least a lot of people knows about me. They used to pay attention to how I wash my hands, especially somebody that worked with, I used to work with food. So I had to, pay attention to wash my hands. And they'd be like, you take so long to wash your dang on hands, but you have to, you're preparing food for people. So you have to, wash your hands. And the same thing in the medical field. And, one guy, saw me wash my hands. He said, you wash your hands like a doctor. Like, yeah. Get and don't just do the hands. You got to do the, the forearm too, Let that be a lesson. It's just not the hands, forearms as well, People don't realize they need to. No, but there was a time, like I say, dark ages, sanitation, you empty your chamber pot, and this is just, reconstruction. You empty your chamber pot out on the street, there was a time when, people did that, they didn't have toilets, they had chamber pots, so they just, get rid of it, empty out on the street, which is nasty, and that's not even medieval, medieval centuries. That's, like 1850, 1740, things of that nature. That just goes to show you it wasn't that far off. And you could sort of say, 1886, and things of that nature. So yeah, sanitation is not that new. It's at least pretty much like a century and some change on proper sanitation as we know it. But yeah, but she says teach me, and he recites the 23rd song as we know it. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He making me lie down in green pastures, as we know. As Chief has told her, that song is is basically talking about Ogun, in that sense. But yeah, and the two sheep dogs, that follow, goodness and mercy, But yeah, he recites that to her, and as tells her to get some sleep, and she tries to look at the book, while he's sleeping. He's like, I'm not asleep, He tells her to he cocks the shotgun, and he's like, well, what are you trying to read it for? You can't even read. And she was like, yeah, so teach me. Now, sometimes in certain versions of movies, depending on which one you want, I could have sworn there's a version where he actually teaches her, teaches her A, B, C, something like that. But that could be just my memory. And he also tells her, about the war. Basically, you can see that, it was believed about this war that that basically religion was the cause of it, and then you see basically at Eli recounts his revelation, where he says, a spirit came at a voice from in himself told him, to find the book, told him where the book was, what I'm saying? Because we also know that he had a key, so it told him where the book was and told him that he had to go out west to, to where he would, give the book to, a place out west, basically. But he tells her, I know I'm not crazy. I know what it was, that spoke to me. What I'm saying? And so I've been walking ever since, he's been on the path ever since. Basically, it's sort of like another biblical figure, Moses. Instead, he not only has the law, he has the whole, he has the whole book that he has to, bring with him, in that sense. And he's been in the wilderness for 30 years, walking to get to the, get to this promised place, Yeah, it was 40 years for the children of Israel, but for him it was 30 years. He's been walking apparently for 30 years, or how he recounted, I think it was 30 seasons. 30 seasons has passed, since the flare, so he couldn't recount years, but he could recount, how many seasons it's been, so, in that sense, like you had some indigenous people, count the days by moons. How many moons ago was it? It was the moon of the lunar moon of this. That's how some people read years. In a sense, by moons or by suns. It depends. But as they're walking on the road, what that she questions whether the voice was real and things of that nature. And he tells her, walk by faith, not by sight, And then she's like, what does that mean? And he explains what it means. And then he uses and he uses a quote from Johnny Cash, Live in Folsom Prison, because she's like, is that from the book? He's like, no, it's Johnny Cash, Live in Folsom Prison. I thought that was cool. That was real funny to me, But Eli and Solara, they come to a White House, and they meet an old couple. They fall in a pit, when they get to the door. Now, mind you, when they get to the door, right, Eli's very cautious because he doesn't knock on the door. He uses the gun barrel, the shotgun barrel, to basically knock on the door, right? Because he's punching it. But it's still, and before he gets up to the steps, he also stomps his feet. Basically, he was looking for traps, you know what I'm saying? But they end up still getting trapped, when they meet this old couple, and they're like, look, we're just here looking for some water and things of that nature, But the old couple, welcomes them in, gets them out the hole and welcomes them in. And what was cool about this old couple, that would y'all like to hear some music? They get the tea and things of that nature, and and she tells her husband, put on some music. And the music that they are playing is "Ring My Bell." Now that ain't from my generation, but they just vibe into it. Ring my bell. It's funny. It's very funny in that scene. But you can tell that they're that old that they like that song. I would like that song. It's like my parents listen to that. But they like that song. But one thing I pay attention to is that they played that song on a Victrola. Now, for those that don't know what a Victrola is, that is basically a gramophone or the first record player. As you can tell it was the first record player because it has the metal horn that comes out of it and the needle, and you play records on it. They don't have modern record players, or for those in the 60s and 70s, 45s and things of that nature. They had Victrolas. How Victrolas are over a century old. These are old. You got to wind them up and things of that nature, and then put the put the needle down on them. That's a Victrola. Yes, I know what a Victrola is. Because they were the first record makers as well. They also made records. They made record players and they made records as well. But yeah, music soothes the savage beast. Yes, brother Zach. So apparently, Ring My Bell will soothe your savage beast. It will not bring the beast out of you. It will civilize and soothe you while you sip on some tea. I don't know how that's gonna go now, but yeah. But yeah. And they are offered food, but they're shown graves, and but they're offered food, and they're like, oh, I found some meat, but that they're in a desert, there ain't no place where you can find meat. So Solara observes this as well as Denzel, and Eli, and he's saying, "Oh, yo, we gotta go now." He's like, their hands were shaking, yes, from too much human meat, So they were cannibals, So they were civilized zombies in the sense where they had probably a brain, but they still ate other humans, but they were zombies, Don't cap for something. Zach, don't act up. we look a lot of so-called, a lot of religions ring bells, But that is not the Belle she is talking about, and you know it. We all know. Look, I ain't even a part of that generation. I ain't even part of disco, but even I know what Belle she talking about. Check the oil and you, why is it that you always make me act up? That's why he my older brother, because he makes me act up. But anyway, but they try to leave, but then Carnegie comes back. He finds them at the house. But the old couple, they got a bunch of guns. They were preppers. So they got a bunch of guns, a bunch of semi-automatic weapons and rifles and things of that nature, and even grenades. They got weapons. But one thing that Carnegie asked from the book, they bring out the so-called book, and then they open it, and what do they see? It's a claymore. For those that don't know, that little rectangular small thing is a claymore. It has ball bearings and it's explosive. For those of us that have played with a claymore before, know what it is. you know. So yeah, that was a claymore, and it's basically a trap, and they opened it and it exploded. So or they gathered them from the dead, or they gathered them from the dead bodies. But shootout ensues, and you see that one thing, the age of the weapons, you saw like Red Witch, he had an M16A2, which some of us call the musket. But like the couple, one of them had like an M4 with an ACOG on it, what I'm saying? Yeah. I know, so he had a good scope on it, but yeah, and I think what the his wife had like an SK. I think that was what it was. But anyway, I was paying attention. But also, they hit the house with an RPG, what I'm saying, and blows the house, half of the house up. But also they had they brought out the big gun, which is a Gatling gun. For those that don't know what a Gatling gun is, it's one of the first auto, basically auto big weapons, that that basically was created after the Civil War, or pretty much during the Civil War, but it was basically used for the Indian Wars that happened afterwards. Basically, you turn around and the barrel cylinders, each fire around. Now the way that they had it up was they had basically a magazine, right? As they were turning, you see the magazine coming up, but as well, with a Gatling gun, it also has a drum, which is basically, it's a cylinder drum, and you just sit it on it, and then you just crank out the rounds that way, So there was two ways to load it: through a magazine and through a drum, Yes, I know what a Gatling gun is, and I know how to load it and things of that nature. So yes, I am an AI apparently, but or they gathered, yeah, okay, but yeah, that's what a Gatling gun is. But they get subdued, and Carnegie, says, "Tell me what a book is," right? And he threatens to kill Solara, and then he says, the book's in the back of the TV, and he says, "Yo, go, it's in the back of the TV," and they look to him stupid, like, "What's a TV?" And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" But he's dealing with people that had never known what a TV is, let alone that was an analog TV. For those of us that know what an analog TV is, different from what we have now, plasma screens and all that. Well, analog TV, and they had an old, like, I would say 60-ish, 1950s look like version, with the small screen, with the stand and things like that. That's what it looked like to me. I didn't notice a shotgun too, which goes back to show you who is an amateur and who knows what they're doing with weapons. Yeah, because they had like a Winchester. Winchester had these different type of shotguns where you crank them by the handle. That was some, you could say, the earliest like shotguns. They were rifles, but they were also considered shotguns because they had basically take down buffalo. Well, but as well as that's just not about knowing what you're doing with them, but you know the history of them, and how firearms progress throughout the times. There was a time where 6-shooters were all the rage, and Winchesters, cock action, Winchesters. And then there was a time, when that was done with, and then you had the 1911, the Colt 1911, the first semi-automatic pistol, and it could, with 45, ACP. And then after that, then you get the Thompson, which was the first, basically the first semi-automatic rifle, that could pump out a bunch of, rounds. You get like the Gatling gun, you either had the magazine or you had the drum, which changed the game again, so and then from that you have the Uzi, and then you have the M16, and you have the Thompson. Well, no, not the Thompson. What's that dang on rifle that they use in World War II? Not Stevenson. So dang, because I could have got me one. I can't remember that rifle, but there was a rifle in World War II that was phenomenal. And then after that, you got Glock. Think about it. Glock changed the game. Beretta changed the game. Glock, Beretta, because you didn't have to deal with steel anymore. Now you can deal with polymer frames and all that whatnot. So it's less, pistols are less heavy, and what else? Even now, you got semi-automatic shotguns. You don't have to pump it all dang on time. Now they're semi-automatic. There was a time when they weren't. Yes, bazookas. Then you got RPGs, and and then different. You can even go with it with missiles. And ballistic missiles and things of that nature. And it's just a lot. Even with tanks and artillery, we'll be all day. But anyway, he tells whether where the book is. To get the book, and then he quotes, "Asking you shall receive." That's what he's like like is Satan tempting Jesus? You know what I'm saying? That's why I got out of that. But he gets the book, but then he shoots. Carnegie shoots Eli. But one thing you can see, Eli don't bow. Eli kneels. You know what I'm saying? But then Carnegie said, "You see, he's just a man." It's like dealing with the Christ figure, or dealing with the Romans, hearing about Jesus and him being immortal and things of that nature, and they shoot him and say, "See, he's just a man." That's what I got from him. And so we see that Solara escapes. Because they got a motorcade. So she escapes, with a car, and goes back to Eli. She escapes by throwing a grenade. Now, mind you, I don't know how this girl know how to throw a grenade, but she did it right. For those of us that know how to throw a grenade, pull the pin, let the clip go, and rolls it, because there's many ways to throw a grenade. but she does it right. She does it right. She does the role right, at least. you know. Um, yeah, see, Sister Kashia, for those of us that got, expert and master experts in, in grenades. you know, some of us know how to, some of us know. Some of us have played with a few. But she throws it right. She does it right. And she escapes and goes back to Eli. But she sees that Eli's not in, where the house, at the place where the house, where the house used to be, but he's still walking. And he says, I gotta go west. He does not stop. Even if he lost the book, he does not stop. But as they're going along and she picks him up, gives him a hug and everything, you can see that as they're driving west, he's taping up his wound with duct tape. It's a good thing to have duct tape, in a sense. That's what it's used for, Yeah, no problem. Emma Precious. It's all in my head anyway. But yeah. But with this movie, you sort of do, because of the simple fact that some people don't know what a Gatling gun is. Some people don't know. That's what happens when you are a person of memory. You sort of know that these things have had a process before. Just like the gun, it had a process. There was a time when it was, where you had to have, a flint and musket fire and things of that nature to shoot it. And it was single action, and then you had to load it, then, you get like Civil War, you had to load it, drop the ball down, put the powder in, stuff the powder in, things of that nature. And then, fire, glory, right? And then you have a time where all you gotta do, load a bullet in, load a few in, and cock it back, fire. Then you don't even have to do that. Load a pistol up, cock it back, fire. Just look. But it's just not with that. Even with architecture, and things of creation, they all have a process, and they basically all have an evolution. I just gave you pretty much the evolution of the gun, or at least the historical evolution of the gun, But yeah, but we know Precious got Precious. You know your weaponry, which is a good thing. I think even Precious got 45 caliber. She got one of the big, got one of the big 45 guns. She probably carrying a Desert Eagle. I'm like, yes, this is my Precious right here. I don't know why. It just seems like she do. She got a big Desert Eagle. And know how to use her stuff. She's like, yes, my name is Precious. And I will use Precious on you. But anyway, so yeah, so they're driving west, and then Eli says, at all my time reading, I forgot, to do what it actually said in the book. I forgot to, to do for others more than you do for yourself. And that's a tall tale lesson, because you have so many religionified people that probably know these scriptures and can repeat them to you, verbatim and things of that nature, and probably debate on what it meant in this and meant in that. But do they live the word, and do they apply what it is teaching? Do they live by the laws and things of that nature? Do you do for others more than you do for yourself? Do you love your enemy, bless them that curse you, things of that nature? Or do you deal in the gossip and things of that nature? Do you cease to do evil, learn to do good? help the orphan, plead for the widow, things of that nature, um, things that, certain things like that, and that's probably just all from the New Testament. Now we ain't talking about, do you do you honor thy father and thy mother, and do don't kill, don't commit false witness, keep the Sabbath day holy, um, don't don't eat any creepy crawly things, things of that nature, unless they're, the grasshopper or the katydid, as Brother Zach, said in the lesson, do you eat of the, thing? Like I say, it's a lot. But that's just one religious book. There are others, religious book that say the same thing: to do for others as you do for yourself. You live in a post-apocalyptic world where others don't do for others as they do for themselves. They'll kill them, and that's probably the mark of a zombie, where you don't do for others. It's all about you, and you feed on humanity that does those type of things. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what that means. So yeah. But he says that, and then you see that Eli and Laura, they're in San Francisco, because we see the Golden Gate Bridge and things of that nature, and so they're in San Francisco, and they come to Alcatraz. For those that don't know, Alcatraz was basically a turn of the century Roaring '20s prison where famous people went. Famous criminals went. For me, because I'm from Chicago, Al Capone was in Alcatraz. There have been movies about people escaping from Alcatraz. Also, I would say the indigenous people of the of the United States. They also did a boycott in Alcatraz. I think it was AIM. AIM. They did a boycott at Alcatraz. I think with Leonard Peltier and Lakota and things of that nature. But they did that as well at Alcatraz. The movie The Rock with Sean Connery, that's about Alcatraz. But yeah, it was a famous prison, and it's it got discontinued. I can't remember when Alcatraz got discontinued, but it was a famous prison. It was this famous prison that was so called bad and diabolical, but it was on this rock. Away from in the waters, away from San Francisco. But yeah, yeah, that movie was cool. Welcome to the Rock. But yeah. But they get to Alcatraz, and they find people there, and Eli says, I have in my possession, King James version of the Bible, and that gives them entry, and you see, these military style people that's there, and they go in, and you have what's his name? I know, like. Anyway, it does better, but I know the actor, right? He played it so much, but he tells him, it in Alcatraz is like a museum. They have all these, artifacts and things of that nature, and they just say, we're trying to give people what they lost. We even have Britannica, just missing a few volumes. Now. For those that don't know, there was a time when the Encyclopedia Britannica was a big thing, before, the internet age where you condense, an encyclopedia and things of that nature. But yeah. So, but just think about it. Bound books or you could say something that is a tangible resource that you can actually have in your hand is very valuable. A book is very valuable right now, Whereas people are moving from that. Just think about it when you don't have electricity and things of that nature, and you can't use it no more. Things that are like that are very precious. A book. Like what's a good book? Like a good, okay, something that we probably all read. To Kill a Mockingbird would be like valuable. Scarlet Letter. Probably we've all read that. Scarlet Letter, To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh, The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree. I like The Learning Tree. What else? Shoot, what are the Mr. Sunshine books? One with they had all different type of yeah, the grumpy face and things of that nature, and things. The Crucible, yeah, see Scarlet Letter, The Crucible, that would have been special, but I'll just name it, books we probably didn't have to read for school and things of that nature. But yeah, you see all these, and then while he's doing that, Carnegie is trying to unlock the book with the engineer. They unlock it and realize that it's in Braille. But as that's happening, Eli is telling basically I would say the curator of Alcatraz to get a bunch of paper, because he has what's the condition that this book is in. He's like, well, it's a little beat up, but it'll do the job. It'll do tasks. But to get a bunch of paper, and what does he do? He recites, the Bible verbatim. So like I said, the word was in him. But also you could say that Eli was like a Qur'an, in his Islamic history, those that were able to recite the Quran, because it wasn't written down at one point in time, and they went all over, to recite the Quran. That's what he's like. That's what I got from it, when I saw that he's like a Qur'an in that sense, but he's also like a prophet, and in that sense as well, because he's bringing forth, a book. He's basically is a messenger. In your Islamic text, you could say he is a Rasul. He is a messenger, because he is bringing now books from Yah. But even though it's forgotten, it's still he's still bringing it down. That's why I say he's like a warrior prophet. But I thought that said that people can read but still can't read. Yeah. Do you think if people could really read that there would be true censorship? Yes, there would be true censorship. If people could really read, there would be true censorship. There are some books that are still banned, what I'm saying, that you cannot read in certain parts of the world. What I'm saying? Shoot, there's certain movies that are banned in certain parts of the world where you don't see them. Because if you really know what that movie probably said, like, for instance, I gave you, for my class, I gave you all the message. The message was really banned at one point in time. I think I told you all that it was banned in the United States, but at one point it was banned, So yeah, if you can really read, there will be true censorship. It is especially true, at least for in historical times, for the fascist government. Or fascist governments, like the Nazis and things. They were burning books and things of that nature, and the fascists were doing the same thing. But also, you have your communist regimes. They were, censoring books and things of that nature. You couldn't read everything, So, yes, if you can really read, there will be true censorship. Yeah, some people still can't see, and it's right in front. Yeah. So yeah, so he recites the Bible to him, but we know that the wound that he took from Carnegie um is going to kill him. You know, they can't do nothing about that. But as he recites that, Carnegie tells Claudia to read the Bible, basically read the book. And you can tell in her face, she knows what it is. She smiles and she lights up. So she's already getting the word. And then she doesn't recite, she doesn't tell him what it is. She says, I'm sorry, it's been so long, I don't remember. But she remembers. But she also, because like brothers I said, because of her heightened senses, she can tell that he's feverish and that his wound stings, which basically means that his wound's probably going gangrene, you know, which basically means that your wound is rotting, um, in that sense. And if you ain't careful, it could kill you, but but those that don't know, that was one thing that people had to worry about. Well, soldiers had to worry about in Vietnam, your wound getting gangrene and things of that nature. But also during the Civil War and things of that nature. But yeah, so you know, she doesn't read it to him, but she tells him that people downstairs, they're creating havoc and doing whatever they want because nobody fears you anymore. So he looks out and he sees, the basically his kingdom being, overrun, right before his eyes. That's why I say he's like a Satan figure, in that sense. He built something up and now it's crumbling before his eyes. And all he can do is just sit down and just, basically cry and have a pity party, While you have Eli, he's getting dressed up and wearing all white, getting his head shaven, and and he's still reciting. And then you see, he was giving up, he has given up everything for his pursuit of power. Yeah, he gave up everything for his pursuit of power, and it didn't work anymore. And then you see what it cost him. Cost him, good men and things of that nature. And even though he had the book, the person that he was relying on ain't gonna read them to him because she doesn't fear him anymore. Because she know he's going to die, so she's not scared anymore, and she just leaves. Like a spirit, she just leaves because you don't see where she goes, but she just leaves. I didn't understand why that happened though. Was it because his goons were all gone? Yeah, but also because they, like I said, they didn't fear him no more. He's upstairs and he's wounded. He's limping. They're not scared of him. So of course, when that happens, when the cat's away, the mice will play, and they're young, so of course they're gonna do what they want to. They're younger than him. They don't fear him. So yeah, it's like being around a crippled alpha. If you if you ever watched a animal documentary, sometimes when the alpha or the leader of the pack or the troop or the pod, because there are many different types, of groups when it comes to animals. When the leader is crippled, sometimes they buy, animals bide their time till he dies, or they just kill him outright, But they do their own thing, and a new leader, basically takes control. While the other one just basically falls behind and dies away, So it was like the movie Snowpiercer, the TV show Snowpiercer, when they found out that they didn't have any bullets in the gun. It's about to go down. Yeah. And shoot, even like even in Snowpiercer, you have because I watched that show too. You have what's and I know his name too. Well, you have the main character, and he's very communistic and liberal, you know. And then you see how that liberalism, doesn't help him as much as he thought he would. But it is a movie. I'm thinking of a TV show too. I'm sorry. It is a movie. It really is, because it's based off of a book. It is a movie too. It is. I'm sorry, brother Zach. My bad. But yeah, you're right. It is a movie. I didn't watch the movie. I watched the TV show. But yeah. So after that, you see that as he's reciting, he dies, because we see his grave. But I found it interesting how he was dressed on rice, but he dressed like a Muslim, in that sense. So that was very interesting to me, as he was basically sort of like on his deathbed reciting and things of that nature. But as he's as that scene happens, he's praying and things of that nature, and we see that Solara goes and leaves Alcatraz, to go back home, basically continue the mission, because she has her own mission. And you see her dressed in his clothes, and takes his things, and now she carries the mantle, basically passing on the lineage. And then you hear, I fought the good fight, I finished the race, and I kept the faith. That's what he says, as he goes on, and then we see, Solara going on to bring back what she knows, basically, to where they, where she's from. And that's the end of the movie. That was a long one, but I had to break it down a little bit, because there was just so much you could see outwardly if you didn't if you didn't pay attention. And then you had to think about the world building and things of that nature. Because it dealt with being in a survival world and things of that nature. That's probably one movie I'm probably gonna have to put on the list when it comes to being survivalist and things of that nature. Red Dawn. I've been thinking about putting that movie on, putting on the list. But yeah, the knowledge transforming into wisdom, and into, you can say that's the stage. Because she is of the sun, that means that she has the knowledge, and she's carrying the wisdom, So, you can say that Eli is the son, and she is of the sun, So yeah. You see the transformation, or the transformation of a high priest, and now of a priestess, or of a warrior priestess, in that sense, because she seems like she does get indoctrinated, or initiated into that priesthood, by Eli. So yeah, now she's part of the bloodline, even though she may not have the blood. She converted by faith, so she's part of the bloodline now. So you can say that. So yeah, but yeah, that's the end. So next strong, we're gonna do another Denzel movie, but one he's directed, and that is Antoine Fisher. So that should be an interesting one, because I think, like I said, Denzel's a phenomenal actor. He also is a good director. He's done a good job directing movies. I can't say he's had a bad one yet, where there are some directors I say, yeah, you bombed on that one, but he's done a good job with his directorial parts in movies, so yeah, we're going to talk about his first directorial debut, which is Antoine Fisher. So everybody enjoy the rest of your strong, because I know this has been long, but hey, I try to do do adjustment for brother Zach, you know what I'm saying, and you know, and let that son kiss you on the forehead, you know, because we don't want him to do it. So everybody enjoy the rest of your strong. Don't forget that, you know, tomorrow, the next day, you know, we have, you know, Anu Shema on Anu Life Global, you know, so we gonna get into that. And, you know, then we go into the Sabbath. So, you know, enjoy the rest of your strong again. Peace and shalom. Bevakasha, Sister Kashia, and thank you, everybody. So, peace.